Hello everyone and welcome to episode 10 of Scapa 2020, the series. It's Tuesday afternoon, we're doing our second dive, and today, or this afternoon, it is this beautiful boat, which is the SMS Dresden. So another light cruiser and the sister ship to the Coln, which I already said was my favourite dive, and this was absolutely my second favourite boat of Scapa Flow. So much to see and do on her, although she's a very different ship to her sister. Here we are again on the Scapa Flow Historic Wreck site, so just to give them a shout out, if you do want any more information about the boats or any of the other boats that you've seen in the series, do come and check it out. It's got all the information that you're going to need, and you can have a play with these 3D scans for yourself. So, on to the dive plan. So this boat has got two shot lines on it, and the one we descended is the stern one, and it just come down right onto the stern. So that's where we end up, right on the bottom, and we do the usual FAF kit check about there, and then to start off with, we come round, have a look at the stern anchor that's still in place here, and then Dave shoots off, has a look at the rudder, and then I'm about here, I'm a little bit behind him, but at that point we decide to come back over and obviously onto the interesting side of the wreck. So moving around just a little bit, there's about lovely. Lots to see on this boat, guys, and it comes at you pretty thick and fast if you do the dive this way. So first, hopefully you can see there is the first stern gun, something like that, and absolutely 100% in my mind, guys, these are the best guns in Scapa Flow because they're not buried under a load of crap, nothing's collapsed on them, they're where they're supposed to be on the boat, as in position, they haven't fell off themselves, and they're just nice and clear, easy to see, easy to explore, and I really enjoyed these. So that's your first one. This structure here, I'm just highlighting now, is the officers' quarters. And one thing Emily said was to go in there, and there's an old cast iron roll top bath in there. Now it is full of crap, but you can just about see it, so we will have a look at that. You'll see Dave shoots in for a real close look, and I think he got a bit too close because he come out and said he'd not seen it, but you can definitely see it. Following straight after that, so thick and fast, is the second stern gun. So again, right where it should be. Very clear, very visible, and very enjoyable. And that's pretty much it for the stern guys. So if we move across a little bit, so we continue heading for the bow. So we come over this sort of scrapyardy area, which should be no surprise. I mean, you can clearly see the blast damage there, where they went in to go and get the turbines and all the good stuff out the engine room. So it's interesting enough. But again, when you get to the bow of the boat, this is where all the, really interesting stuff starts again. So you can see, again, the boat davits, just like there was on the Coln. And we sort of come across here, swim under them, round them, until we hit this sort of bridge area here. Now on this scan, this bridge structure looks quite intact. And again, I think it's just old data because this is pretty flat now. You can still certainly recognise it's some of the structure, but it doesn't stand up so much. So me and Dave, we come across here, have a few seconds there, and then we actually go up this mast here, and there's bits of the spotting top on the top. So we'll have a look at that and just see what the differences are between that and the battleship, the one that we went and looked at on the Crom Prince. When we get back, we have a good nosy around this cylindrical structure, which you will know if you've watched any of my other videos is the ship's conning tower. Now, as you can see, the top deck has all peeled away and left this great big gaping hole. So this is actually on the seabed and is not as accessible as the others, but it's interesting nonetheless, and there are some definite differences between the one here and the one on the Coln, which I'll point out to you. Now, you can probably see here this is actually the bridge gun, again, in place. Now, we don't look at it because we sort of come this way, went up there, come down there, and then we head off up here, so we kind of miss it. But we do a couple of dives on this boat, guys, and we will come back and have a look at this one at another time. So moving towards the bow then, again, just to say, you can see all this deck's peeled off here, and so the hull's here. So this boat presents a great opportunity for you to do some, sort of light penetration without really squeezing in anywhere. Very safe, lots of sea. You can really get down into some dark, deep corners without squishing yourself in. So really nice, and one of the reasons I think this boat's a cracking dive, even though she's not in the best of state. So round to the actual front then. So me and Dave we come across here, round the front, and we're heading for the anchor chain, which you can clearly see here. Now the reason for that is because last year, which was the centenary of the sinking, they actually had some German Navy divers come out, a little bit of a ceremony, and they tied a German ensign to the anchor chain. So we're going to have a look at that. And there's also a little memorial plaque just on there as well. So we definitely wanted to check that out. And I advise you do as well if it's still there when you get to go. Now, once we've done that, we come back and I spend a couple of seconds looking at this. What's a dark patch here? And what that is a decorative shield, I guess. So it's shield shaped, and it's actually the coat of arms for the city of Dresden, from which the boat took its name. So that's quite interesting, and it's one of those things you probably wouldn't pay much attention to if you didn't know what it was. So I'm quite glad Emily told us about that. So once we've done that, guys, it's the full length of the boat. That's pretty much dive done. What we do then is from the shield we come back down here, because I don't know if you can see it there. There's an anchor capstan, and there's the shaft that normally goes through the boat, but because the deck's pulled away, it sort of pulled it out and exposed it. And the second shot line is quite handily tied right around the middle of that, and then goes up from there. You literally cannot miss it. So you'll see it as we sort of come this way, and then as you go back as well. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let's check it out on the video. Welcome to the Dresden. So you'll see on the footage now, look, it looks a little bit snotty, and I was really a bit concerned about the viz on this dive, but don't worry about it, it does clear up. So plenty of portholes here, guys, but unfortunately no brass or glass, I'm afraid. So I have no idea what these holes are in the stern here, with what looks like rather large toilet lids in there. Outside loos, I've honestly no idea. Emily didn't say anything, and I forgot to check when we got back on the boat. But here we are, right at the stern of the boat, and there, as you can see, is the stern anchor in place in its stern anchor locker. So when these boats were moored up, they certainly weren't moored up at both ends. So Dave is just heading off now to have a look at the hull, and I'm just having a little bit of a look round, but I can tell you right now that my scuba diving spidey senses were tingling, and we'll get on to why that is a little bit later on. So a bit short and sweet that trip to see the rudder, but this is the side where everything's going on, and almost straight away we run into the anchor capstan and the first stern gun. So this is the officers' quarters that we're coming up to, and as you can see, Dave's making a hot step off into it. So you'll just be able to see a little sort of the white roll top of the bath. You certainly can't see the whole bath, but if we just give it a second. There, you see that white line sort of just under Dave's elbow there. So that's the edge of the bath, and that's pretty much all you can see of it. But as you can see, I mean, you know, for the slightly braver souls, there's definitely plenty of space to go in there and do a bit more exploring. And it's definitely on my bucket list of things to do. How was that, Dave? Did you enjoy that, mate? Plenty to see? Yes, loving it. And again, guys, as soon as you take your head out of there and look round, lo and behold, here's the next gun. So, like I say, at this point, thick and fast, lots to see and keep you entertained. So, yep, again, just enjoy this one. As I said in the intro, lots of space in this wreck. She's breaking up beautifully, and you know, if you're somebody that likes crawling into these spaces and having a good fin round, it certainly presents lots and lots of opportunities to do so. So right about here, guys, my scuba divey spidey senses are tingling again, and it's simply because there are thousands of scallops down here on the seabed next to the Dresden, and just being a scuba diver in the UK, you know, when you see scallops, you've kind of just got to catch some. It's primeval. It's the hunter-gatherer in us. I mean, I don't like scallops. They're horrible, fishy shell thing. I don't like them, but I do love catching them, and it becomes addictive, and I do love a scallop dive. Now, I am trying desperately to resist But we will swim a little bit further along in a minute, and there's just this one cheeky scallop that's just not even on the seabed. He's on a bit of pipe, or it might be a bit of mass, but he's right there, bold as brass, just saying, you know, yeah, what are you going to do about it? So I just can't resist going down and grabbing a few. Look at him, right there on the pipe. He's goading me into it. That's it. You know, scallops is one of those things, you don't see him, and then all of a sudden your eye catches one, and then as soon as you see one, that's it, you see thousands. So that's it. At this point, it's just the hunter-gatherer has taken over. I need to go and collect some food. And this cheeky so-and-so on the pipe doesn't think he's getting away from it either. Come here, you. I got you. Ooh, there's your friend there as well. I'm going to have him. And another one. Now, I do love it when they try and escape. Freedom! No, that didn't work, mate. Sorry, I still got you. So, do be careful if you're up here, guys. Scotland introduced a new rule last year, I think it was. So you're only allowed to collect 6 scallops per boat per day. So so you're not allowed to carry too many. Now I only brought 3 up on this dive because it's all I could fit in my dry suit pocket, even though I got a handful of about 6. But I was just giving a little okay sign to Dave there because I think he was getting a little bit concerned that this was just going to turn into a scallop dive, which is not what the plan was. So yeah, back to it. So that's the stern mast that we've just been over, guys, and we're just heading sort of into the scrapyard now. To our right is the blast area where the engine room used to be. So just up ahead, in the top of the shot, there you go, you see this structure here. Now I've no idea what it was, but it was like a trough underneath when we go and have a look at it. So I sort of turn the video lights in to have a look at it, and it's yeah, I've no idea what it is, but it's quite prominent if you're in this part of the ship, and it's definitely, you know, used to house something. Now, unfortunately, the GoPro is going to get it again here, I'm afraid. Yeah. Ow. Sorry. Now, interesting in a second, look, I duck my head under, breathe out some bubbles, turn on the video light, and just look at the rust that's been dislodged just from bubbles. So, yeah, you know, this is one of the things you've got to be careful of when you are going inside a Rex, that you're really happy and you know where your exits are, especially if you're going deep inside. But like I say, this boat, plenty of space, as you can see there, plenty of green light, not really in too much of an overhead environment. So again, one of the reasons I really like this wreck. here we are. We have an Allen, aka Slippery Eel. And just behind him is one of the boat davits. So yeah, bit more scrapyard here, guys. So we shall whiz along until we get something slightly more interesting. And here we are eventually, so at the bridge structure. So it's definitely a little bit upright, but it's probably not as upright as it was in the scans when you can see it's all kind of collapsed. Just sort of a tangle of steel. But interesting nonetheless. And I say, me and Dave have a little scoot up the mast there that you can just see buried under the garbage, but obviously it comes out at the top. And we go up and have a little look at the spotting top and come back down. But just note on this one that the ladders are very much on the outside of this one. She's a lot smaller mast, not that great big massive armoured tube that we saw in the Crom prints. So back at the ship, first thing we run into is obviously the conning tower. This will be familiar to people who have watched my other videos. So again, just a really big structure on the Dresden, more sunk into the seabed than the Colns, most certainly, because the Colns is still in place. But if you actually look at the little, you see the little peepholes there? Well, look, they've got little eyelids or little eyebrows over them to stop the rain. So again, just a different variant, and this is sort of double stacked. So there's Dave just going in where the rangefinder would be, but this is sort of got like a smaller spotting top, so to speak, with all these sort of eyelided slits in than the one on the Coln, which just had them on the outside of the bulk of the conning tower, whereas this one, the actual conning tower itself is much wider. But yeah, so interesting little features there. So just to the sort of top right now, that's actually the top deck that's peeled away and is sort of laid itself over the conning tower. So let's go and have a little look around there. So this is where Emily had sent us in on her 3D maps that are much more detailed than the one I've been using to show you guys. And this is where she said that extra bath was, or perhaps the just the normal cruise bath. But I went in here a couple of times on both dives, and I didn't see anything that looked bath-like on this bit here. But you see, just on the video, I didn't notice at the time. When I look up and sweep my torch up just briefly anytime soon. There. That looks like a bath, doesn't it? But she didn't say it was kind of on the roof as it would be. So I don't know if that was it or not. But anyway, it is what it is. So just in shot there to the top right, look, there you go, you can see the shot line. So the shaft coming down, that's the capstan shaft, and then the shot line's tied off to it. So just underneath me now is what would be the underside of the top deck that's peeled away, and to the right is obviously all the internal gubbins in the hull. So Dave's just there, and we are heading to the bow. There's an Al and a Corky. Hello, guys. We're nearly there now. Now, just coming into shot there at the top, that's the shield that I was talking about in the introduction, but you get a better view of it when we come back, so we'll have another look at it then. There we are, coming over the edge of the bow now. You can quite clearly see the anchor chain, and in a minute we will see what's looks like a dead body's been zip tied to it. Well, that's what come into my mind when it comes through anyway, because I think it's been tied in like 3 places, and it looks like something out of a movie. You know, you've wrapped a dead body and tied it up, and it's the same thing. But as we go down, look, you can see it's pretty much, there's no colour to it at the moment. I don't know if you can even see it. Yeah, there we are. Bit more. It's just covered in silt, so I'm going to go in and do a bit of tactical wafting to try and clean it up. I didn't want to pull on it too far, I don't want to dislodge anything, but I'd like to get a better view of it. So there we are, just a bit of tactical wafting, just so we can see a bit better. So there we are, after a bit of tactical waftage and getting rid of the silt. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. So black at the top, red in the middle, and yellow at the bottom. So yeah, nice to see, I think. We'll just go in, and there's a tiny little plaque. I couldn't get a decent shot. In fact, I couldn't even read it while I was down there. It's a tiny little thing, but it needs a bit of a proper clean to get the crusties off it. But there it is, just at the top of shot there. So here we are, back right at the bow on top of the hull, and you can see here the shield, or the coat of arms for the city of Dresden that was attached to the ship, and it would look something like that. That's the orientation, and you can just about make out the 2 lines that would go from top to bottom, but there's no imprint of the line on the other side, so I don't know if that was painted on or etched or something like that, but you certainly can't see that anymore. So that's it, guys. What a great dive. I really enjoyed myself. We're just heading back to the shot line now. Up the line, do the deco, and then back on the boat. Do me a favour, please subscribe, give this video a like, share it out, and make sure you hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any more of the upcoming videos. Other than that, guys, I hope you're well, dive safe, and I will see you on the next one.